Hi, my name is Hadley. I'm 19 years old, and I'm going to tell you about the time I got trapped in an igloo with my crush, his girlfriend, and a small friend group, while also accidentally admitting my feelings to that crush, who had a girlfriend. Now, before I get into the story, remember to hit that like and subscribe button if you want to see more content like this. Now that that's over with, let's get to the story. I know what you're probably thinking. How could I ever get into a situation as bizarre as that? Well, the world works in mysterious ways, and also because I have really bad luck. Only two people are important to the story. The others can be excluded, really, they're not important. So, the two people are Damien and Ada. Damien is somewhat of a childhood friend of mine. We've known each other since 7th grade and lived close to each other all of our lives. Ada was his girlfriend. He met her at high school, and the both of them hit it off quite well. I was kind of left behind in the dust, left to rot, all of those dramatic sayings. I'm not going to antagonize her, though. She's only hanging out with her boyfriend, whom I'm assuming she loves very much. Even though the two were very close, as couples should be, he never fully cut contact with me. Actually, while he and Ada were off canoodling with each other, I made a couple of new friends, Mia and Michael, who are in my classes at college. The both of them are pretty chill and down for most things. If Damien is off with Ada, I talk with them. They're fine with being the quote-unquote second option, mostly because they know that I may or may not have been harboring feelings for Damien for years. Which, I know, it's kind of bad because he has a girlfriend of a few years, and they're very happy and whatnot, but I don't know. It's been a battle with my feelings for years. Well, Damien called me up one day and was like, hey, Ada and I are going on this trip soon and was wondering if you would like to come along with us. There's enough for 5. And I was like, oh, hell yeah. So I called Michael and Mia and was like, hey, yo, Damien just told me all of us could go on a trip. And Mia asked, well, where are you going? And when I said Antarctica, they kind of went Antarctica, like the coldest continent on the planet. And I went, yes. You in or out? And they were both like, screw it, let's do it. So that's how the 5 of us, me, Damien, my crush, Ada, Damien's girlfriend, Mia, and Michael were on a boat traveling to Antarctica. We made sure to do our research. We packed all of the appropriate gear and whatnot. After 2 weeks from the initial planning, we hauled ourselves off to Antarctica. We originally brought tents and sleeping bags for the harsh winter cold, but Mia, the youngest one in the group and quite possibly the most childish, was like, let's build an igloo. And we all looked at her. Damien was like, do you even know how to make an igloo? And Michael, who was technically Mia's best friend, was like, I know how. And that's how they spent the next 5 hours building an igloo. I don't even know how they managed to make one good enough to last. They weren't expert igloo builders. But while they were doing that, Damien and Ada went off a little bit farther to go explore or something, and I was left alone to wander. I didn't go far though, never out of sight of the others. But once the igloo was done, we all went inside, and I was pretty surprised to see it was well packed and made. So we settled in for the night and slept. Me and Michael slept next to each other. Ada and Damien slept with each other, obviously, and I was kind of left on the other side. In the morning, Damien got a text from his mom saying that they were tracking a storm expected to come up through our area. We could either A, find more suitable shelter, or B, try to find a way back home. Ada wanted to stay because she's always wanted to be caught in the middle of a storm. Which, I'm not going to judge, but can't you just watch a YouTube video or something? Michael argued back that if it was as severe as they'd say, not only would Ada be able to experience it, but she, as well as us, could also, perish in the storm. So, Damien agreed with Ada because why wouldn't he? And Mia agreed with Michael. So it was up to me to break the tie. Lovely. I would like to say I was pretty daring and risk-taking myself. Even if we got caught up in the middle of a storm, I had no problem with it. So I broke the tie and we decided to stay there. What I didn't anticipate, however, was actually staying there, in the igloo, the entire time. But that's what we did. It was a huge snowstorm that would probably last 2 days at the least. We had enough food to last us 2 weeks, or a week if we couldn't control ourselves. The storm itself was brutal and even made it colder than it was. For some reason, Michael and Mia made the damn thing pretty sturdy because it was holding up, even in the most violent winds. Mia and Michael managed to entertain themselves throughout the day, but I felt really awkward being left out from them, all while having Damien and Ada snogging next to me in the corner of the igloo. Not only was I uncomfortable, but it bothered me. Seeing my semi-childhood friend, who I did have feelings for, being with someone else and genuinely being in love in front of me, and I know it sounds silly and painfully obvious that I should get over him, but I don't know. There's something about him. The entire time I was busy with setting up and preparing for the storm. I didn't really prepare the rush of feelings coming back to me in the quiet time. Well, around the morning of the second day, the wind and snow were still blowing violently outside. Ada, Michael, and Mia had gone to sleep. It was only Damien and I awake, which made it even more awkward for me. I'm pretty sure he found it normal. It was just two friends hanging out in an igloo in the Antarctic while a storm was going on outside. Nothing new or weird here, right? Wrong. There was an awkwardness between us. It was palpable. There was no way he didn't notice it. And if he didn't, then he's a complete and utter idiot. I don't know if you could properly hear anyone talking with the storm, but that's probably why we didn't speak. That made it even worse. Then it got crazy cold. Like, colder than before. The others were already using most of the blankets and sleeping bags, so that left Damien and I out in the open, basically. Great. Just my luck. So Damien turned to me and was like, listen, I don't want to make this weird or come off wrong, but do you want to huddle for warmth? And I just kind of stared at him and went, I mean, if it's for survival, sure. Even though it was literally for survival, I enjoyed it, which I know is really bad because he's in a committed relationship and I'm projecting myself onto him, but I couldn't help it. Well, a little bit into the huddling, I was warmer than before, definitely, but I couldn't be so close to him without, feeling. So I decided to push away from him. He just looked at me and went, what's wrong? And boy, the floodgates just burst open. Like, it was both humiliating, invigorating, and stupid all at once. I sound like a child rambling on about something that didn't make any sense. All Damien did was just sit there and listen to me, basically tell him all the reasons why I love him, how long I've loved him, and all the reasons why him getting a girlfriend that wasn't me was just absolutely soul-crushing. So, yeah, that, not my proudest moment. After I was done ranting on for about 10 minutes, I just kind of curled up in an extra sleeping bag and fell asleep. If Damien said anything, I don't remember it. Or I didn't hear it. The evening the next day, the storm was over and the igloo was only slightly damaged from the storm. When the others woke up, neither of us told them of what transpired between us during their slumber. In fact, Damien hadn't even talked to me since after that entire thing. Of course, it could be because I immediately slept after and we didn't have any private moments to talk about it, but even if that was so, Damien wasn't even looking at me. He kept his eyes on everything else. Even when I was right in front of him, he refused to look up at me. The five of us decided to arrange to go back home. After the first hectic 2.5 days, they were already tired of the Arctic and living in an igloo. It just wasn't for them, and I had to agree. One thing that I would miss would be Damien, especially since we'd missed an opportunity to talk things out after my unfortunate confession. But I didn't think there would be a chance. He was avoiding me every way he could. To make things worse, he lived with Ada, who lives farther away from me. He visits his parents every once in a while who live near me still, but if we went back to our hometown, there's a good chance I'd never see him at all. Maybe never again, even. I was worried. Overly so. I had no idea what to do, who to go to, or if I should even try to continue what I started accidentally. I wanted to talk to Mia or Michael about it, but they'd most likely make fun of me for caving in so easily, even though, technically, I've been holding all of that in for years. I could have called my mom and asked for advice, but she's not the most experienced in the world of romance, so that was a no-go. I was at a loss at what I should do. But then, I had this really crazy idea. What if I talked to Ada? Which I know sounds crazy and stupid. Why would I tell someone that I'm in love with their boyfriend? It's crazy. I could get killed. I know that. I'm aware. But think about it. Damien never actually told me to, cut it out. So if I tell Ada, hey, I'm kinda sorta really in love with your boyfriend and I need you to slap me out of it. If you could you actually slap me? I think it'll go swell in all honesty. Before I go crawling into the lion's den, I'll ask for your opinion. Disregarding the fact that admitting to a friend's significant other that you have feelings for that person is seen as very foolish and dumb, take a moment to consider my reasons. Even if she reacts negatively, maybe that'll be enough to finally get me to move on past him. Comment down below your honest opinions. Maybe that'll be enough as well. You can never have too much negativity about my love life.